Welcome to Behind the Scenes at ID8 Studios, the place where we explore the art of producing art. I'm Steve Sue with...
I'm Crystal Backey.
And we got Mia here with us
and Mia today.
Mia the fishing dog.
And we're here with Dean Sensui.
Hi.
From
Hawaii Goes Fishing.
Fishing, one of our favorite fishing shows ever.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, holy cow. And our subject today is how to shoot fishing.
How to shoot fishing, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that it seems simple until you actually try it.
I imagine.
And then you find out there's a lot of little details that you got to deal with.
The setups must be insane.
Yeah, and it all depends on whether you're going on a boat, you're going shoreline, if you're following guys who are fly fishing, and everything's got to be compact, portable, and weatherproof.
Well, you don't have a place to plug in.
No.
True.
No. Yeah, you go through a lot of batteries too because one of the things is that fishing is very unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
So you don't know when you're going to take a strike.
It's kind of the ultimate in location shooting.
It is, yeah. It's reality show, television.
It's MacGyvering.
And
And you know what that is, Crystal? She knows.
They did redo that show, right? I mean, MacGyver. It came out again, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it came up in one of our other podcasts, and we're like,
we've been
what's
using
that?
it like at every show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleverness of reacting and improvising on the spot.
Right.
Is very key to this.
Right, and I'm fortunate that I can fabricate stuff, so I've made custom gear, like camera mounts and things like that.
Do you have any patented camera mounts? Because I know that's actually a pretty big business in the production.
No,
arena.
actually, it's all cobbled together out of aluminum. I learned how to weld aluminum and whatnot.
You build stuff too.
Yeah. So, one of the things is, aside from doing the show, I was doing some things for the Western Pacific Regional Fishery Management Council. We did what's called a core survey to find out a different way of observing fish. In hopes of developing an assessment process. So that means dropping cameras at random. So I had to make these drop cam mounts where you could drop into the grid, just start the GoPro and take a series of photos, and you drop 10 of them.
And so this
what do you mean by drop?
Yeah, is that underwater mount?
So it's an underwater mount. So it's there's a 3-pound lead weight, a 5-foot-long fiberglass wand, and the camera is mounted at the top.
Okay.
So it drops down and you just drop it in the grid.
Sinks down.
And it just takes pictures every so many seconds.
And
then some researcher goes through all the pictures, tries to identify any fish that passes in front of it. Then also built a 360 mount that's on a tripod, that's on a weighted tripod and sits on the bottom in the middle of the study area. And basically you put it there, you swim away and just let whatever come in front. What they would normally do in an assessment is they would swim a transect. So you've got a scuba diver with a little clipboard and marking down what he sees. The problem is that fish run away. As soon as they see a human being, all the primary food fish
they're gone.
Ditch,
And everybody else goes with them.
And then you only see the stuff that nobody wants, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing an assessment like that, you're making certain assumptions that certain number of fish ran away, but you don't really know. This one, you can really see it.
So one of the things that I love to watch on, I confess, I look at social media. And one of the things it's just like, it's in the algorithm for me now. I love it when I see the fish strike. All those underwater shots. It's like when lightning strikes for a fisherman.
Like when it bites?
Yeah, when it bites. You see the lure going by.
It like underwater shots?
Yeah, underwater.
How do they get that?
How do you get that?
You can. There's something called a Troll Pro where you could put a GoPro in this little, kind of like, not exactly a capsule, but it's something you drag behind the boat, and you'll have your lure attached to that, and it's just watching the lure. And I've done it a couple of times, and it really works. But you've got, that's 1 out of maybe 6 lures that are running. So you've got a 1 in 6 chance, if you get a strike, of that one getting hit.
That's why it's like lightning. You
have
to have all the water time to get that shot.
Yeah, you don't know when it's going to hit. You don't know where it's going to hit. Yeah. So what I'll do is, if I'm on a boat, is I'll have a GoPro watching what's called the cockpit or the deck. And it's just constantly running. So you're getting several hours of footage, and just on the hopes of catching that strike.
So do you window in on that, or just use it as more of an establishing shot?
It's kind of like an establishing shot. And I gotta be paying attention.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hear that line go off, I pick up the camera and start it rolling.
Does that sound excite you every time still?
Oh yeah. Crystal's experienced it.
Yeah.
You know,
We went fishing.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
That was a 110-pound ahi.
Yeah.
And
That's
she
a lot
got
of
to.
ahi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ahi.
Yep. Your right hand gets kind of tired
Yeah.
after a while.
It does.
But it's that excitement of the strike that you really want to capture on camera.
Yeah.
So there's the excitement of the strike. There's the suspense of the fight.
Yeah.
And then the gratification of seeing that fish come up.
Uh-huh.
Or the agony of defeat when
Everybody's
you lose the
waiting
fish.
for color, and if it never comes, that's so sad.
Yeah. And both of it's part of the story. You know, you don't
Yeah.
always bring the fish up. You lose a lot of them. A lot of times you get a strike, it doesn't hook up.
Yeah.
You'll get a hookup and you don't bring it in. Or the worst part is you bring it up to the boat and whoever's handling the gaff misses the gaff and the fish comes off.
Oh yeah.
And oh man.
my
The
gosh.
gaff? What's the
Yeah, that big
hook?
the hook on the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when Steve and I had
giant hook.
got the gaff
I
that-
remember the hook. And
Yeah.
so they would get the fish would get off of it because they missed or something.
You can miss. Some guys aren't real good at gaffing, so they'll try and hit the fish with a gaff.
And then it
and,
wouldn't get
and,
off.
And you might hit the fishing line or unhook the fish, or the fish will thrash and it'll get unhooked. Because after a long fight, that hook starts to get kind of loose in the jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to be really careful. Once you're at gaff, you really got to try and get it on the first gaff.
So at that moment, I can imagine a lot of water is being thrashed around. There's a lot of activity. Do you do any like slow-mo type of stuff, or like more cinematic stuff?
Not too much slow motion. I hardly ever do slow motion. It's always actual motion.
Because you're doing a video show.
It's kind of like a documentary. Yeah, it's more
I
that
see.
approach.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you got to be there, right? So I've seen a lot of marlins fairly up close.
Yeah.
And coming up alongside the boat, and that can be kind of dangerous because you just don't know if they're gonna kick up and come flying up on the water.
Pierce you.
Yeah.
Gore you.
Yeah. Guys have gotten badly hurt, killed.
Yeah. So where it's the best, like, how do you position yourself to get the best shot?
Like for a gaff shot, you go overhead.
So are you usually at the top? Are you like at the top of the boat? Like
Usually I'm forward of the guy who's gaffing or leadering, and looking back toward the fish. Or what I try to do sometimes is I have a GoPro Fusion, which is a 360 camera on a stick, and I'll just hang it out over where they are. Or sometimes I use a regular GoPro, stick it in the water, and get that gaff shot. I've done that too. And that's really cool.
If a billfish is going to get out of the water to try to spear somebody, aren't you kind of right in the line of fire?
Try not to be.
But it sounds like because they can see you from that position.
Oh yeah,
they're looking at
and
you, right?
They're mad. They're really angry. So
you should wear one of those Kevlar things.
what's that?
yeah,
The bulletproof vest. The billfish proof vest.
yeah, get the billfish vest.
Yeah. Put Hawaii Goes
Patented.
Fishing on it.
Yeah,
Patented.
have a little logo on
Yeah.
it. So there's a camera work, of course, and then during the day you're trying to formulate what the storyline will be. It's generally you're going out fishing, you're looking for the fish, you hook up to the fish, you bring the fish in, and it's end of the story. But quite a few times there's other aspects as well, and one of them was a guy named Roy Yamashiroya called me. His son Dean had died of leukemia, and he had this footage of where one day they had caught 4 ahi, one after the other, just all at one time, and he was asking me if I could do something with it. So what we eventually did was go back out on the boat, where Roy is talking about his son, about that day, and also brought Dean's son out, who was maybe 10 years old at the time. And so there's that whole evolution of going out fishing, remembering Dean, and seeing what happened during the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so when
some humanness along with the normal story.
The human aspect is always the most important, because fish are fish. It's the same thing no matter what kind of fish you catch. It's the same drill. But what makes it different is the human element.
Yeah.
The personalities involved, the people involved.
You catching a big tuna.
Yeah, we should have put that on the show, actually.
Yeah, we have videos of it.
Yeah. But it'd be cool if there was audio and all that stuff, right? And
Yeah.
getting that whole evolution of the day. But anyway, on that day with the Yamashiroyas, so when they set out the lure, and what they do is they have a little dollar bet, right?
Yeah.
You put $1 on whichever pole you think is going to strike. So Dean's son put $1 on, I think it was a starboard short corner. It's a corner pole that's
On
running
the right,
close in,
right
on
side
the
of
right
the boat.
side, and that's the one that hit.
Okay.
Got the mahi
Jackpot.
mahi. So yeah, jackpot. And it's kind of like, his dad is overseeing this whole thing and getting his son a little bit of action. And
And so you get to be of him. Yes.
Yeah.
Human element.
Yeah.
The human
Always,
element. It's
right?
always, yeah.
What about the detail shots, like the close-ups of the fishing lures and the
Yes.
beauty shots of the sunset?
Yeah, so you want to get a lot of B-roll, and that's something you always got to think about. The start of the day, the beauty shot early morning, they almost always go out at sunrise. Some of them will stay until nightfall. The close-ups during the day, guys rigging lures, sending them out, and everybody is mic'd up, so you're getting all this audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how many mics do you run?
I run up to 6 mics.
Wow.
Because you've got
That's a
the
lot.
skipper, you've got the deckhand, you've got 4 anglers.
Like lavs? No.
Lav
Wireless
mics.
lavs?
Oh, yeah?
Wireless, yeah.
Oh,
All
wow.
feeding into a 6-channel recorder.
Wow, that's a lot
Yeah.
of data.
A lot of stuff, and so you've got all that. You've got all your GoPro footage. You've got all your camera footage.
How many cameras are you shooting?
So I've got like maybe 2, 3 GoPros going. Sometimes one on the bridge, one overlooking the cockpit. You've got the gaff camera. I've got my camera, the handheld, and all of that's got to be synced in post. There's ways to do that. One is a little device where you can attach it to your camera, and it's constantly feeding time code. And
So you can, all of them could be running at the same time.
yeah. And I usually use time of daytime code.
Yeah.
And what happens with that device, which I don't have yet, is you can use that time code to sync in your editing system, right? And every little clip will be synced all along your audio track. So my audio track is my bass track. That's the the run of the day.
Right.
And all the different cameras will sync off of that.
Right.
So hopefully that audio recorder is constantly running, and I always got to check it. And
What if it fails?
if it fails, then you've got your backup with your camera, but you still got to start piecing stuff together, right? But because it's time of day, it gives you at least some kind of reference.
Yeah.
And all of that gets boiled down to 2 6-minute segments. So you've got
Wow.
hours and hours and hours of stuff, and you've only got certain key areas where you really want to keep, and the rest is just taking up space.
Because you're waiting for lightning to strike.
You're waiting for lightning to strike. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what about birds? Because I know when you go fishing on a boat, you're always looking for the birds and you're looking for the pile and all that. So how do you cover that well? Because the birds are way far away. I mean, the people that get the birds, they have really good vision. And you're
Yeah.
like, I see birds. And you're like, I see nothing.
They've got these binoculars that are like $5,000 binoculars that are stabilized.
Yeah.
And so they can see them way out. Some guys I heard can actually use their boat's radar to find the flock of birds, or they call it a bird pile.
Yeah.
I was out in Palau once, and
Palau.
Palau, yeah,
Yeah.
that place.
Well, where'd you go?
Well, we're going to go
Crystal's
to
from
Ant Atoll.
Palau.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were going to go to Ant Atoll, and there was Ant Atoll, and there was this other atoll next to it, except this atoll started to move.
What?
It was a bird pile,
Oh, no kidding.
huge bird
Oh,
pile.
my Lord.
And when we got to it, you could see all these tuna jumping, but nothing would bite. And that's the other thing about fishing, is that you can be where the fish are. You can try to fish it, but they won't bite
Really?
for some reason.
How
And
common is that?
more common than you'd think.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just for some reason,
Because
they're not
see,
interested
I
in
mean,
eating.
the reason why there's a pile is they're
They're,
feeding,
maybe
right?
they're
Feeding.
just. Oh.
Because maybe your lure doesn't look like what they're eating, so they're not interested in it.
Because the only
Oh.
reason the birds are there is because the little fish are coming up because
Yeah.
the big fish are
Yeah.
driving them up.
Yeah. So the
Everybody's
bigger
eating
fish,
except you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing the birds can find these fish schools, and somehow the fish, the ahi, which is normally about 400 feet down, will be able to sense it at the surface. They'll feel the vibrations.
Wow.
And so that's the other thing while filming fishing. We were filming these guys on jet skis, and I wanted to get a shot where they're just going by. So we stopped the boat. The engine's in idle. The engine's real quiet. And so here comes the jet skis with their usual buzzing noise. And then once they got past, then the lures with the teasers came by, and you could hear all this gurgling noise, splashing noise.
Yeah.
And that's where I realized that that's what's bringing fish up from the deep.
Oh yeah, sure, of course.
It's the vibration and all that noise. They think something's going on.
Well, poppers, right?
Poppers,
There's
exactly,
a lot of
yeah.
lures that are built
Yes,
just
yeah,
to make
for
noise.
the drag, right? Like it drags.
Yeah,
And,
they'll throw it out and then they yank it back and make
Yes.
this big splash.
Yeah.
And then the fish feel that and see it and
Yeah,
they go
that
out
makes
for
sense.
it. Yeah,
This
They
is
get the
so
lateral
cool.
line. They can.
Yeah.
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 They're feeling your vibe,
Right.
and then you
Right.
hook them.
Right.
You
And
put on
then
your Kevlar suit, and you gaff them.
and if it doesn't look like something they're interested in, they're not going to bite. Or it can be something they normally eat and they're just not interested.
I remember, didn't you have like different types of lures out at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people run a spread, right? Maybe we'll run 4 when I go because that's all the space we got. Some guys will run 6. Some will run 7. One will be on a stinger way out. And they'll vary it. And if they see that a certain color, a certain lure gets hit, then they'll start switching toward that. Or sometimes, maybe it's a design of the lure, the way it runs. Maybe it's a straight run, or maybe it's something that will, dive, or something that hits the surface and pops. But it's different, and some skippers are just so smart at this stuff. They know
the pattern.
They
find the pattern.
Yeah, they know what's there, and they kind of get a sense of what should hit.
Wow.
They got to know where to go.
Yeah.
The day we went, Jay knew exactly where to go.
Yeah.
So there were some spots that he knew about that he went to, and he could see it on his map, and with his binoculars he can see the bird piles and whatnot.
Well, all right then.
Cool,
So
that's so
that's
cool.
how to shoot fishing
Yep.
by Dean. Thank you, Dean.
You're welcome.
Brilliant.
Yeah. My
So
pleasure.
how do they find out more about Hawaii Goes Fishing?
Well, we've got a Facebook page, and there's a website which hasn't been updated in a long time, hawaiigoesfishing.com.
Okay.
If you're interested in being on the show, you could just send an email to dean@hawaiigoesfishing.com.
I must send you an email. I want to go.
Yeah.
We should go.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll bring a camera.
Get
extra.
Jay to take us out on the boat again.
All right.
Yeah. Well, my brother was coming to town. We're going to go fishing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna do it.
just
We're
let me
going
know.
fishing with Dean.
We're going fishing.
And for more information on this show, check out ID8studios.org. Thanks for joining us.